All right, let's talk about the LSU Tigers here for a little bit. Look, obviously, this is a program, one of the blue bloods in college football. That's undeniable. We're looking to take a big step forward in 2024 in a revamped SEC new college football playoff format. Opens up a lot of opportunities for LSU, so they're going to need all hands on deck. That's why this latest report is a great sign for the Tigers. Let's pull it up, then we'll talk about it more in detail on the other side. This is courtesy of 24/7 Sports. An LSU former five-star recruit is set to withdraw from the transfer portal. He was transferring. He's coming back. Running back John Emery, who left the Tigers and entered the portal in April, is now set to return to LSU, sources tell 24/7 Sports. It's the culmination of a process that had been trending for several days toward Emery ultimately returning to the Tigers. The Louisiana native had visited UCLA and had been expected to transfer to the Bruins prior to this materializing with LSU and is now set to return to the Tigers. All right, this is obviously a good sign. Emery, obviously, he's not like a Heisman Trophy candidate or anything, but I think he's a key piece of this offense going forward in the future, at least for this coming season. Miles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this. But first, LSU fans in the comment section below, I've got a really hard question for you guys today. Who is your favorite running back in LSU history? There has literally been a million great running backs in team history, but I'm going to make you just pick one. Who is the best running back in LSU history, and put it in the comment section below. But Miles, what are your thoughts on this move by the LSU Tigers?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is a big move for the Tigers because I think Emery for this team is very important, especially culturally, just being a guy from Louisiana. He's a guy who's been around. He's got a fair amount of carries, a few seasons. 2021, he missed the field because he was going through some stuff, academic issues, wasn't able to play in 2021. But 2020 and 2022 had 75 plus carries each season for this team. Now, I think we go back to a story we talked about a couple weeks ago and again a few weeks before that, talking about NIL and Coach Kelly's thoughts on NIL, what is going on with the NIL now, the new rulings and the potential of things kind of getting reeled in, some being regulated a little bit more. I think this is also kind of an effect of that because you see so many players leaving teams, going to chase money, trying to go anywhere that's going to give them, the best opportunity to make a big check. But now that things are changing and the wheels are winding back as far as NIL goes, somewhat, it's still out there, but somewhat. I think it goes back to Coach Kelly and the culture he built by saying, we're not here to pay players. We're here to, build up guys, make you the best football player possible. You come play with us. You're going to be on a winning team. We want to be champions. Then the money comes later. There is money out there to be made at LSU, but that is not where they're focused. So when NIL kind of people are like putting the brakes on it, everyone's like, I don't know what could happen here. Maybe it's not going to be the same anymore. It's just going to be a little bit different. I think Emery looks back and says, hey, this is the school I really want to be back. When you take money out of the equation, this is the strongest team, I think, for me. I think LSU is a contender. I think Coach Kelly does a great job. I think I'm going to get the best development over at LSU. So I think it's really key here that we're seeing guys go into the transfer portal probably to go chase a buck. But now that things are changing, like, well, this is the team I want to stay at. So coming out and coming back to LSU, I think it speaks a lot to the culture that Coach Kelly has built down at LSU.
You hit on a few things there. There are really three reasons for any player to enter the transfer portal. The first is a guy's trying to get in front of better competition to elevate their draft stock, right? You got a guy that maybe played FCS, 1AA, or maybe played a group of five, and they want to transfer up their senior year, their fifth year, whatever, to a higher competition to see if they can improve their draft stock, right? That's a common thing that happens pretty regularly. So that's the first reason. The second reason is ring chasing, right? You got a good player who's played 3-4 years at a program, then he wants to transfer to a national title contending team to see if he can win a championship, right? That happens a lot too. The third reason you alluded to is money, is the dollars, right? Some other program is going to cut you a check for $1 million in NIL money, and so you decide to just hop and leave, right? Those are the three reasons. Here's what's very interesting here if you look at Emery, right? Emery is a guy who doesn't get a lot of playing time. To be totally honest, he's a sub guy, even though he was a five-star recruit, hasn't quite lived up to his, ranking, to be totally honest. So you look at him as a guy's like, okay, I need to go somewhere else to try and elevate my draft stock, right? Because he wants to get drafted or at least play more. The fact that he was going to go to UCLA and change his mind to come back, I think to me, he got sold the pitch from Brian Kelly. And this is the first point and the last point that says, listen, if you're a backup here, that's just as good, if not even better, for your draft stock if you've got the tool set than being a starter at UCLA, right? And I think that's incredibly important, right? It reminds me of those Alabama Nick Saban running backs, remember? Or you go back to the USC quarterbacks where they had backup quarterbacks. Matt Castle famously never started a game in college, went on to play many seasons in the National Football League. You don't have to be a starter if you're part of one of these top flight programs to get NFL attention, to get NFL looks, to get drafted, to make an NFL roster. And that's what LSU is selling to the third and final point there, where, listen, you can go to UCLA, you can get $100,000 in NIL money, and guess what? You won't get drafted. But if you stay here, spend another year getting better in our program, SEC competition, bulk up, whatever tools you got to figure out, speed, whatever things you got to work on, figure it out with this elite LSU program, with the elite LSU support structure around it, you'll have a chance to get drafted and make at least $500,000 a year for 3 or 4 years, maybe even more in the NFL. So it's just simply cost benefit analysis, right? You take 100 grand today, go to UCLA, and then your football career is over. Or you stay at LSU and you got a high chance to make 500 grand over the 4 years following that, right? It's just simple math. It's just simple cost benefit analysis here. And that's what Brian Kelly has been selling and talking about this entire offseason. And we're seeing the results of it come into focus, right? We talked about it about a week ago with their quarterback. They were recruiting Underwood coming into the fold saying, listen, I'm LSU, NIL money, not what I care about. I'm focused on the league. LSU can help me get there, all that kind of stuff. We're seeing the same thing here. We're seeing a trend. We're seeing a theme, especially in this new era where we're going to see like salary cap revenue sharing around the not long from now, depending how it all shakes out in the courts. I think Brian Kelly and LSU, they don't get enough credit for everything they're doing. It's a smart strategy and should continue to pay dividends for them in the future.